Hey everybody, how we doing? This is an update giving a business picture of the 19th of July, and there's been plenty going on in the last week or so to look at. I'm going to start off with technology. AI space is ever evolving, and I think just some really interesting stuff that's come out over the last week or so. I think people are just generally underestimating Google. They're doing a massive job with their new stack of tools, whether it's VO3, it's the AI Studio, um, it's the Firebase Studio they've got going on. There's some really good stuff, and I think I've said before, it's being massively overlooked. But what's also exciting is how we're getting this sort of combination now. You've got Solana, so you're looking at blockchain technologies linking in with MCP servers and allowing AI tools. This is similar to what you're already seeing with solutions such as BitTensor. Um, so it's sort of all coming together. Blockchain AI space is combining, which is going to be great because it's going to enable technology to have its own sort of currency systems, but also ways of facilitating information, storing it more appropriately, and just generally evolving the rails which the technology we've got is built on. Yeah, just massively good news, really, and interesting. We're getting these sort of partnerships, but also it's just where it goes next. And I do think Google's going to really take the lead as it gets its suite together, because it will have an infrastructure, it will have a group of users above other companies. So that's really AI, bit of blockchain there. I think we've seen a lot of movement with blockchain. I haven't included a picture of it, but obviously the 3 crypto bills in the US passed this week, which is massively good news. And then also looking here, this is just a chart showing how it's been adjusted and changing the value of Bitcoin for tracking it. So we're obviously now above 100,000, but this chart allows it to go up into the millions now. So there's always this expectation in sort of the larger tracking companies that Bitcoin's value will keep on increasing, and thus have adjusted their scale system. So that's just interesting to see that. But yes, it's been a really good week, or 2 weeks really, on this front, and be interested to see how it sort of now comes into the business world. And then from that, just looking at, I suppose, privacy concerns, this whole control of it, which is an issue. You know, the fact that Google can now turn around and say it's going to scan all your messages, including WhatsApp, even if you turn it off. How do we sacrifice our freedom for the functionality? I think a lot of people are going to do that. It's going to be inevitable. If you haven't got these tools and they're not easy for your staff or customers to use, then you're going to lose the edge you want, the advantage you want. Australia and age verifications now on technology use, that's interesting. Again, that could be using blockchain to verify users' sort of records against devices and let people into stuff. And actually, haven't got it on these slides, but you've got Cloudflare now, just on like cross usage with the whole charging AI tools to scan websites, which I think is really good. I need to look into that and just see how that's being monetized, and if money goes back to the website or if it's a Cloudflare takes it all. And again, further on the sort of financial notes, it is how the BRICS are going to play out, because you've got this further narrative of the BRICS setting up their own funds, moving away from the SWIFT system. You've got the UK trying to get back in with the Europe a bit, and then you've got ideas about these rolling recessions. Are we going to see? Obviously, this isn't financial advice, it's just me observing. My thoughts is just where interest rates are going to go for us as just normal people, you know. is because of this technological evolution we're going through, are we just going to see constant benefits in markets? Honestly, don't know. Yeah, it's a really interesting sort of set of dynamics there. We're losing control and maybe being over-regulated, over-controlled. Where's investment going to go? Are we going to struggle to innovate in the West a bit more because money and eyes and ears will be in developing countries? Yeah, what's going to be going on really? And then really, I think following on from that and how it goes into business, power is a really interesting one. Obviously, everyone's talking about nuclear, everyone's talking about the needs around power for the AI data centers, and people building out massive. I think it's Meta just announced they're building a data center the size of Manhattan, and just the power that's going to need. But there's been quite a lot of articles recently about wireless power. You've got Japan apparently using radio waves to beam energy back from space. You've got a test here about scientists beaming power 5 miles. So how business can operate could change quite drastically if that sort of technology comes around in the next few years. I don't know how far away it is. And then on the side, on looking at technology and where it's going, you've got further autonomous robots being used in warehouses to get full automation going on. Obviously, lowers costs, can work 24 hours a day, more efficiencies. And unfortunately, I think this is where business is going to go. If we're looking from a HEC perspective, looking at the economics, and then how that's going to affect culture and community. Your work, your warehouses aren't going to have those cultures and community or very small human-based ones, and you're going to need to put in these autonomous solutions to drive down employment costs. Your robot's not going to have NI contributions. It's not going to ask for a pay rise next year or need a pay rise. So we have to use those, and they'll cost less than people as well in the long run, if not already. So I'm really interested to see how that goes, and how more businesses can harness it. And I think one of the challenges is always going to be the upfront capital investment to do it, and equally space to make it happen. Like traditional buildings maybe, or pre-existing structures may not be suitable for these new technologies, so you have to knock things down, rebuild them. It all depends on how things go, but it's just really something to think about. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. I think blockchain's evolving, it's becoming more mainstream, which is great for just then how can we harness it in business and use it with AI, and what sort of tools and products we build out of that. And then on a bigger picture scale, we've got these constant conversations about new forms of technology coming on the horizon, and then you're looking at, okay, where could that go? How could I use it? But at the same time, being very aware of our obligations around regulation and what data is going to be used and how it's going to be used. We've got to be very mindful of that as businesses, because it's a risk and an opportunity at the same time. And I'm still a big fan of localize language models and doing stuff off of not using cloud-based language models to, say, do data processing. There's some really interesting stuff going on, keeping an eye on it, but it was all coming together, and it's all sort of making a lot of sense if you look at it as a whole. How this affects our cultures and communities is going to be really interesting. I think it's a tense time because of all this innovation going on and keeping track of it, but out of it will come a lot of opportunity, I think, in the end. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one. And remember to like and share the video, please.